record now. Yeah.
So yeah, super excited to meet you guys. Me and GD have been looking forward to this so AI case event for a long time now. So yeah, about me, I have an expertise in business and marketing. I was one of the early team members at Razorpay, built complete marketing funnel, then joined. Then basically after that I joined HomeLane. There also I was heading customer acquisition, did one of the biggest deal with Mahendra Singh Dhoni, got him on board as brand ambassador and did one of the biggest campaign across IPL. Then I joined a company known as Livspace Store where I was a founding team member. While I was there, I got a call from a company known as Zalando, which is the biggest e-commerce player in Europe. So they wanted me to move to Europe, handle their complete media, build strategy, build their team across 23 market and handle one of the biggest budgets, which was $140 million. By that point of time, three of my case studies had got published on Google, two on Meta, and basically got featured as top 50 global marketeers across different media houses. But at that point of time, I realized that AI was just taking over. By AI, I mean Chat GPT was just started, people had just started getting into the complete Chat GPT and AI interactions, right? And that's where, for me, one of the biggest things was that if we are able to capture voice or if we are able to index voice, we can change life of millions. Because deep context, at the end of the day, everything around you runs on the basis of your context. So if you see Google, it has your context, right? Hence Google became one of the biggest companies because it knew from where you are searching, what you are searching, right? And similarly, if there could be a way where you can generate deep context, it will help us firing very hyper personalized experiences. So, one of the biggest things which I hyper for personalized experiences, right? And that's where one of the bigger things was that how do you build hyper personalized experience? So hyper personalized experience need to be built by an ambient listening device, right? Which needs to be like your companion, always listening to you, always helping you out whenever you need it, always being there proactively, right? And that is the true definition of ambient listening device. So me and my co-founder, who is my cousin Arden, we had this vision of building uh, so I first of all I was enjoying my life in Berlin. Life was very good. Overall, there was work-life balance. So the only thing which could move me was that vision of building the largest company ever, right? And that's when me and Aryan, basically Aryan is my co-founder and he is from IITM, so IIT Madras, and he belongs from the same department as Tarun and Swapnil of Aether. So they have got expertise in and Agni Cool guys, right? So they have got expertise in hardware tech. So that's how me and Aryan started talking. He also realized that this could be a massive use case, right? Because as we are evolving, right, from as we evolved, right, be it internet era or now AI era, one of the biggest things which change during the course of time is always the hardware around us. And we believe that hardware can change with AI, right? And this was our very early vision. 2 years back, we started working off this idea, actually around 1 year, 10 months back. At that point of time, though, no one believed on us because building hardware out of India is difficult. And it's actually very hard because people did not believe that how could two guys from India build something so futuristic. So they used to never believe, and India by default is known for either white label product or either copied product, right? In this case, we did not have any playbook to work around, right? So no one believed on us. So what we started doing was doing a lot of hacks. So because we believed in this vision, we started creating prototypes from scraps. So for example, the prototype which you are seeing right now with me is one of this is out, right? This is the final prototype which is out for shipment, right? Before this, we had actually built around three different prototypes which were all built through scrap. And then we started realizing that it is functioning properly and we need to generate some virality for people to understand that it could be magical. So what we started doing was there is a place known as Araku in Bangalore. And Araku is known for founders and investors. So what we started doing was we started showcasing our product over there. So we used to just sit over there and people used to find our device very intriguing. And then they used to test it out. And because the complete experience was so magical that they started tweeting about us, and hence we started getting lot very viral. And it became so viral that actually Money Control also covered us, which became even more viral. And then at that point of time, if on Twitter, on Grok, you had to put AI wearable, we were the only ones who would turn up. And then Samir Mehta, who is the CEO and co-founder of Bot, ended up becoming our first investor. So this was a journey of Neosapien. It was full of challenges. And in India, I believe hardware tech, building a hardware tech is one of the biggest challenge. But yeah, and there have been many times. Right now, I was actually last week I was at IIT Indore. So I was telling people that many times I thought our company would shut down. But at the end of the day, we ended up outworking like crazy. And then somehow we used to get just the right amount of support at the right time, which actually helped us staying afloat. And now it has so happened that we have scaled considerably, and that has also enabled us to enter into different markets. So now we have people buying from US. We have in India, we have scaled significantly, and yeah, it has been now a better journey.
Yeah, thanks, Dhananjay. That's a very good introduction. I just want the audience here to know that I have seen many demos. It has always been using AI in some form or shape, either for the manufacturing segment or for the corporate enterprises. It's all been such use cases. The reason I wanted Dhananjay to do this for our audience here at Applied AI is because there is something concept to completion from the hardware part that he has started. So it would be great, Dhananjay, if you could probably show your product and get started. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of questions as you move on. I would request the audience to hold on mute until he finishes his demo. Then we'll have the questions asked directly to him. Go ahead, Dhananjay, please.
Yes, so just joining it via Luma. Okay, because I want to show the app also. And now I have realized that I have to again join via Luma because of the cell phone. So give me 1 minute. I am joining the Luma link. 1 second.
We
Register.
usually do this on Bright Talk. Most of our webinars are on Bright Talk, but to show his device, he wanted to be on Zoom. That's why we said, okay, we will do this one on Zoom. So there is a concession for the hardware compatibility issues.
Yeah, just showcasing us. So
How many years is it since you started, Dhananjay?
it's been 1 year, 10 months.
And what has been your revenue so far? If you can disclose that to us.
So we are about to hit 1 CR within 6 months.
Wow. And
Yeah.
how big is your company?
It's just a It's just a 10-member team. Okay. And this 10-member team, but we have lucky enough to get outliers in the team. So we work throughout the days. Okay, throughout every day. One of the things which we have realized that we will end up fighting the largest player, right? Chat GPT is coming up with their ambient listening device. Google is going to come up, right? So we want to outwork everyone to make sure that we are able to actually outlast, right? And this also we have started believing now. People have started believing because if you look at the example of DeepSeek, with limited funding, they were able to fight everyone, right? And we were actually one of the earliest one to start shipping our product. So now the team believes that outworking, and there is that rebel nature that we are going to prove the world wrong and be one of the biggest hardware companies. So yeah, I will quickly do the demo and would love to showcase everyone our few slides on the deck as what we are seeing vision as well. And yeah, would love to take any questions.
Sure,
Let
go ahead, please. Yeah.
Yeah, if you can see my screen. So this is our wearable, if everyone can see,
Yep.
right? So basically this everything is done in-house, right? We were very particular that everything which we create should be made in India and handcrafted, right? So everything is created in-house. You can see the LED, right? It basically breathes with you. We wanted to make it so art we wanted to make it like a jewelry that whenever you talk, it needs to breathe with you, right? And we recently got shortlisted for one of the best designs globally. And yeah, everything over here, you can see it has got a metal finishing. Inside, basically, there is a battery life for around 18 hours to 24 hours. And everything we are speaking, right, it is directly getting connected to your app. And app also, we work really hard to create an app which is truly world class, right? So if you see, it's in active mode. So whenever you are speaking, it basically does that waves, right? Because it understands when you are speaking. And once there is a pause of 20 seconds, it breaks down into different memory. Or if you are jumping from one conversation to another conversation, you can just save memory over here. So just a simple example of memory, right? Yesterday, I was basically speaking with the complete team. So you will see that basically how detailed it gets, right? So I was talking to Aryan about a pitching session, so it understood everything which I was talking to Aryan. So Aryan is my co-founder. It understood that it is regarding pitching to a specific US based VC. What are we going to target? What is going to be our market focus? What is going to be competitive advantage? Everything which we spoke about, right? So it understands everything very detailed. In fact, in terms of our accuracy, right now we are the most accurate wearable, and even in terms of benchmarking against our competitors, which are just note takers, for example, Granola, we have actually higher accuracy. And not only this, right? So here you can ask queries like what were some of the key questions raised by RN, anything of that sort, right? But what you can also do is you can go over here, and this is like your personalized language model. So what we have built is basically your personalized language model, wherein, for example, if I am speaking with GD, it will understand who GD is because it already has my voice fingerprinting, and it then understands what's my relationship is with GD on the basis of facts and figures. So, for example, it will understand that with GD, I am doing a podcast, which is a entity. It will understand that GD is from Applied AI. Applied AI Association, right, which is another entity. So accordingly, it creates what we call as a knowledge graph between the different entities and different organizations, right? So accordingly, it understands everything which is happening
Is it just me or did we lose Dhananjay?
So this is what we do. Now, what we have also created is something known as ambient audience, because we realize that 5% of the audience is AI savvy audience. These are the audiences which know how to prompt on chat GPT, or basically how to put their scenarios, right? But 95% of the global audience does not know how to do it, right? For them, it needs to be handheld, right? It needs to understand. In fact, our users who have been using our product, they just feel that it's very easy to use, and while they never understand how to use chat GPT. So what we have essentially done is, on the basis of your previous conversation, which could be 8 hours of conversation or 2 days of conversation, it tells you some of the queries, right, which you can ask Neo, right? Once people start asking, you can also ask it things like, what are my priorities with the tech team for this week? So now, because it knows my relationship, it also knows what who my team is. It can basically understand and give you very detailed responses of your priorities. You can also ask it things like, "Hey, I met up with say for example, I met up with X investor, how likely is he to convert?" So all those kind of things it completely understands and gives you a very specific response. And this is what we call as personalized language model, which has complete context of yours. So yeah, currently there is some issue with my internet, but it should come up. Give me 30 seconds. So it will basically figure out everything, every conversation.
And you want to talk a little bit about the security part, Dhananjay? If you remember last time I was part of this demo, we did have questions around security. You want to throw some light on that?
Yeah, so one second, I will quickly ask. Give me a moment. There is some issue with my net. But basically, what it does is things like this, right? I can ask it what were my previous conversation with RN. It will just understand what did I speak with RN, right? These were my previous conversations, and not only does it says exactly what did I speak with RN, but it also cites specific memories like Google does or like Perplexity does. Yeah. So, yeah, talking about privacy, right? And I will also like to take all the questions as we move ahead. But talking about privacy, that's my favorite question because we are taking privacy head on. So, unlike deep tech, no, unlike larger tech players, right? Their complete DNA is dependent on data. And hence, be it Google, be it Meta, or be it Amazon, right? Their complete company is built on data, whereas in our case we have built everything on privacy. So for example, we don't record anything, right? We transcribe. So any of your recordings are basically put in a cache which also gets deleted, and every data which you see is encrypted, so only you as a user has the key to your data. And also we have made sure that we are ISO certified, and also we are now going through a penetration testing which is performed by external party, which basically is going to certify that no one from internally or externally can ever access your data. So this is something which I think gives a significant advantage against the larger tech players, where everything for them dependent depended on data, right? So that's how we believe, and that's where in our website also one of the biggest, in fact, that's one of our biggest USP is privacy, right? Which we believe should be every individual who has their app, it needs to be private for them, right? Right now, if you see, your cell phones are always listening and throwing Instagram ads, which we don't want to do. Yeah.
Sure. So anything on the
Didi, can I ask a question, Didi? This is Suparna here.
yeah, yeah, of course. Just hold on one moment, Suparna. I'll check if he has anything more to cover because he said he was going to talk about his vision and all that. So let his
Yeah.
presentation be complete.
Yeah.
Dhananjay, you want to finish so that then we
Yeah.
can go to questions? I think there's already one on chat as well.
Yeah, I will quickly share the questions. I wanted to just share the screen. Give me just one moment. I have prepared a slide for our current session also, just pulling it up.
Is your net so bad that even sharing becomes difficult, Dhananjay?
No, just I was pulling the slide,
Mm.
and now I will share. One second. This is the slide. So now I am sharing my slide. Give me Where is the option? I can't see. Is it enabled? Oh, yeah, yeah, I can see now. Can everyone see my screen?
Yep.
So at Neosapien, what are we essentially building? We are essentially building the memory layer for the most personalized experience, right? Because we truly believe that one of our competitive advantage is going to be Indian context. Hence, you can see globally, we are the best in terms of understanding Indian context. By Indian context, I mean we are the best in terms of Indic language. We are best in terms of understanding tonality and keywords, right? The emotions behind Indian languages. And this is where we believe that what we are building, Neo is just one part of it, but what you are going to see a larger OS play, which is like an Android, wherein we will continue building our devices, but we are going to also be sitting on other devices like smartwatches, like your smart glasses, right? Understanding your context just like Android does, right? How we are going to, again, how we are going to fight big tech is because be it the distribution or deep context, right? The understanding of Indian ecosystem, is where we would like to specialize and go very deep in, right? Which is one of the biggest thing you saw in fintech also. India won, the larger fintech player like a Stripe never won India, whereas Razorpay won India because they always knew how Indians do, right? And that is our focus. But one second, I will take different. So what is the vision, right? I truly believe that right now the era which we are living is one of the most magical era. It is similar to the internet era, right? Where we saw lots of multi-million billion dollar companies coming up, lots of outlier companies which actually grew on to become amongst the biggest companies, right? We are going to see similar trend during this era, which is very similar to internet era. In every era, one of the biggest things which we have seen is the change in the hardware, right? So our hardware, the human machine interaction have changed across these era, and accordingly hardware has changed. As hardware has changed, interaction time between human and machine has also increased. So for example, if you see how we moved from desktop to laptops to cell phones, every time our interaction time kept on increasing on the basis of convenience, right? But none of them was actually intuitive enough, because we as humans are vocal in nature. For a device to truly understand you, it needs to be organic and intuitive. And voice first interfaces will start taking off now. So we are moving into a generation where from, say from example, screen time, which we saw from desktop to laptops, we moved into talk time. Now you will start seeing ambient listening devices. And this would be an adoption come similar to a cell phone or laptops, which will take 3 to 5 years. And this is where we are at, right? Another thing which I wanted to quickly showcase you guys was, yeah, why we believe we are going to win, right? We believe that we are lucky that we actually launched when no one believed in our vision. And at the time when no one believed that AI wearables is going to be a reality, while now people are aware whether they want it or not, all the large tech are working on AI wearables, right? But where do we get advantage? So one is focus and speed. History has it that focus and speed has always won. So for example, if you see internet era, right? Rediff was the biggest company, but they diversified. And at that point of time, Google with a 10-member team just focused on search, just one single thing, which is search. And they were able to be the biggest company. So in that era, you saw actually the biggest incumbent being taken down by the newest player, right? Similar thing happened with Figma. Adobe is the biggest design company. They again diversified, never understood that design is a multiplayer play, right? Figma understood it so much so that it's now preferred in every design studio as the main mode, right? Similarly, if everyone has used ChatGPT enough, they would realize before ChatGPT there was Google Bard. Google Bard has always existed, but they were not able to move fast enough, optimize fast enough. That's where OpenAI, which went deeply into chat interface for AI, was able to kill them. So the biggest incumbent was overtaken by the newest player, right? This is what we have seen through generations. And that is where we believe is our significant advantage. Second lies the neutral memory layer, right? The tech which we are building is very neutral. So if you see our tech underneath is basically speech to text models which are fine tuned as per Indian context. So it can basically understand if GD is speaking of, or if Dhananjay is speaking, it can understand which of the fine tuned model it needs to use. And similarly, it has got knowledge graph. Then it sits on LLM models, which are again fine-tuned to Indian context, right? And none of the larger players have all the understanding of all these things, right? So for example, if we take example of LLMs, OpenAI can do really, really good as a companion. Gemini can do really, really good at healthcare use cases, while Claude can do phenomenally well at coding or tech use cases, right? So for very specific individual, you need specific LLM fine-tuned models, and similarly speech to text models, which none of them understand. And that's why right now you are seeing all the larger tech players going aggressively on acquisition, because they know that they will never win a battle with the only way of winning the battle is through neutral memory layer. The last phase is privacy as DNA, right? Like I have always mentioned, in our case, our biggest USP is privacy, whereas the reality is with all the big tech, right? They are always in antitrust scrutiny. They also know the amount of data which they want to actually which was always into DNA, right? And hence you will see them always going through scrutiny, and which actually impacts in their slow rollouts, right? One of the things which right now Google is going through. Before that, there was Cambridge incidents, right, where Facebook went through the same. So similarly, this gives us significant advantage to overtake all the larger incumbents. So basically, these are the slides which I wanted to quickly show you guys, and would love to speak with you further. But in terms of distribution, I believe that like an Android, we will continue building our hardware, which are going to be world class. In fact, one of the best in terms of design. We are also going to power smartware watches. We are also going to be part of Airtel Geo Labs, right, where now people can use it. We want actually 500 million users to actually finally have a company which could be one of the largest company which could actually fire up all your personalized AI experiences. So for tomorrow, if Vijay wants to actually order food, it needs to organically understand that what does Vijay like, which is his favorite cuisine, which is his favorite restaurant, right? And that's what we are trying to build. So yeah, that is the slide. I will stop sharing my screen.
Yeah, thanks, Dhananjay. This is very good. I think there are already questions. Instead of now on chat, we still have another 30 minutes. Suparna, you want to take your questions first?
Yeah, hi Dhananjay, great product. Actually, I'm so impressed by the privacy part. That is what we lack in most of the products, right?
Hmm.
Uh, I have been working a little bit on this. I just wanted to know it's like you're basically talking about something like a project on a chat GPT, right? Because a project on a chat GPT is basically a very customized version of what you do. I mean, suppose like I'm talking to GD and some, if I sort of, to me, it looked like something like that. Is
Hmm.
that is that what you have? Is that what you have done to?
Sort of. So if you are talking to GD, right, you will have to put it as a project, as a scenario, right? And this is what you are either going to put a audio note on it, or basically you are going to write the scenario to create that context, right? But these contexts, what even ChatGPT has realized is never based on ground truth because it's your opinion of things, right? In
True.
our case, what gives a significant advantage is this is based on the ground truth, what actually happened between you and GD, right? And then basically it sits on knowledge graph where it will determine the entities and facts between you, and then accordingly go into LLMs to give you very specific responses. Now, how does it help is now you can do a lot of searches, right? You can do 3 months, 6 months of searches to ask that what did I give GD in her last birthday or like 3 years back, right? All those kind of things you will be able to query. In terms of chat GPT, what happens is it will blow out of proportion because at the end of the day you will have to get into, because now what you are doing is you are just putting in scenarios on top of chat GPT, which will just overall increase the cloud cost and which will increase the subscription cost.
Yeah, but I what I understood from your device is that you have something like when you talk, then I guess that goes to speech. It goes through a speech processing layer, and then you have something like an ASR, then NLU, and then finally you are storing that so that you can
Correct.
basically get from that. And
Correct.
depending on the topic, what you have, you decide on the LLM, which LLM
Correct.
to be used,
Correct.
right?
Exactly. Exactly.
And the bonus is the privacy which you're providing.
Correct.
So okay, okay, uh, great product. So I'm coming up with more questions. I just wanted to figure out first my understanding.
Yeah.
Yeah. So open to others. I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is one forum where I have so many questions, but I am the host, so I keep quiet. Okay, I'll let the others take their questions first. And Dhananjay, we can always speak one on one later.
Hmm.
If any of the others have any particular questions. Sorry?
Yeah, GD, this is Vijay here. So there are a
Yeah.
couple of questions from my end. One, how about hallucination factors, right? Normally, when we talk about AI, there is so much to do with hallucinations and so on, or the data that can be wrong, right? What kind of process that has been put in place to avoid these factors, Dhananjay?
So there are two things, right? We are very focusing very specific to start off at as India as our market. So we have made sure that Indic languages are as accurate as possible. So currently our accuracy is much higher than any other player. So hallucination comes down to as accurate your transcripts could be to give you responses, right? And that's where, while let's completely being completely honest, none of the big players have also solved for hallucination. We have also a long way to go in terms of hallucination, right? But where we have arrived in terms of accuracy is around 80-85%. But we believe that magic lies in that 99%, right? When you hit that 99%, complete hallucination goes away. But having said that, we want to completely focus, where team is completely focused in the accuracy of Indian languages, which needs to be the highest in class, which reduces hallucination as much as possible while we strive for 99%.
Wonderful. One additional question there, because there are a lot of regional slangs, right? Like when you talk about Indic languages, the regional slang is very different within the area. So, how are you planning to deal with that?
Exactly, and that's where we are fine-tuning the models, right? We are fine-tuning. We have our own data, and we have generated lot of data, and also we had initially trained on very specific synthetic data, right? So this data is actually enabling us, and we are obviously fine-tuning more and more to understand very specific Indian slang and also tonality and keywords, right? So for example, if you say, for example, if a person is based out of Punjab, he might be abusing, but actually he might be happy, right? So it needs to understand his tonality, right? So the two things which we are very focusing on is basically understanding Indian specific speech prosody, which is basically understanding what is their tonality and keywords which they are using. So this is one part of it where we are training. Second is basically going very detailed in terms of slangs, very specifically slangs.
Thank you, Dhananjay. Just one additional question. You were mentioning about the security. Can you elaborate? Is there any ISO standard or any other standards of security? How can we really be sure that data is held privately, right? Like, because it's going to contain a lot of personal chats and discussions and information. What is taken, what is not taken, and how it is going to be contained with the individual user, what kind of data that can be passed on or not passed on, that kind of restrictions, or to delete the entire data. So can you elaborate a bit more on the privacy aspects, please?
Yeah, so one of the things was when I worked at Razorpay, also one of the most important thing there also was security, right? Because we can see all your, ideally a payment gateway can see all your payments, but then we used to have such high security that no one could ever see it, right? So there were multiple layers of certifications which we did over there also. So similarly, one that learning has helped me a lot over here. So one is we are ISO 24001 certified, which is equivalent to an Apple Watch, which is what we are certified. Second thing is we are also we have done end-to-end encryption as well, right? So that is already done. None of the audio is stored, right? So only transcripts is what we are doing. So we are making sure that none of the audio, and that's how we are controlling our cost also, right? So that is critical not only in terms of privacy but for us to scale as well. And the final thing, right, we are also getting penetration testing done from one of the largest security player in US, uh, actually in Singapore, who is right now doing that no one within the team or externally can ever access your data. And this is something which is going to this is ongoing, and we want to continue making sure that all this is always within the key of the user, and hence we are going three different layers of privacy.
What are they?
Thank you.
What are the different layers? If you
One
could
is
just.
basically ISO certified, right? We have got ISO certified. Second, we have also done end-to-end encryption, right? And third, we are also going through penetration testing, which is the deepest.
All right. I think Neha has been holding up first her hand, so let her ask and then Super. Neha, go ahead.
Yeah, am I audible?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, hi team, great presentation and an amazing product. So I would like to congratulate you first of all
Thank
for
you.
all the success you are already getting and the future one. I have one specific question on the integratability of this particular hardware into other embedded products in different domains, be it CE devices or other handheld and wearables. Are you already on that path with certain partners or brands, or are you, a standalone product? That's my first question.
Hmm.
And the second question that I have is on the noise reduction aspect,
Hmm.
because again, in Indian context, in most of the houses as well as outdoors, there'll be a lot of noise around, right? So, what kind of benchmarking have you done on the noise reduction so that the specific user's voice gets heard effectively?
Hmm.
That's something Amazon Alexa also claims to be the best at on the noise reduction factors. So, just wanted to understand your benchmarking on it. Thank you.
Just wanted to understand, Neha, from you when you asked first question, what do you do? How did you get that question? Because that is something which is a very interesting question.
Sorry, I didn't get you.
So
So
Which
he's
basically,
one?
asking,
your
how did
first
you
question,
ask that question? He
what?
doesn't know your background, maybe, Neha.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, Dhananjay, I work for one of the services company, L&T Technology Services,
Hmm.
and we work with a lot of OEMs in different domains, working with, I would give an example, Amazon Alexa directly in past,
Hmm.
and also many other players in the mobile devices, media devices, handhelds, wearables, automotive devices. And voice obviously is one of the major gestures that or inputs that come in a lot of stories. Voice plus AI definitely is a showstopper, I would say. So I'm more interested into it.
Yeah, so I would reach out to you. Actually, I would love to speak with you on this part. So this is a part where we have already started. And this is how I started also. We believe we are like an Android, right? Which will continue building their hardware devices, which is going to be world class, right? And everything which comes on our devices would be much faster upgrades, right? And then we are also going to do basically licensing, right? Tech licensing, which we have already started doing with some of the larger players. So some of the players which we are talking to is Panasonic. We were a part of their program as well. Titan, right? Similarly, few other players, right, which we are already talking to be a part of it, right? So that's where we want to fire up majority of Indian smartwatches because India has a huge smartwatch ecosystem, and then move into very specific Panasonic, right? They have got HomePods, which are big, right? Which they want us to fire for them. Third is where we want to move is different OEMs, right? OEMs and specifically ODMs, right? So we can be a part of a nothing phone tomorrow, right? We can be part of all those Vivos of the world, right? Which don't have a Siri or like Samsung intelligence, right? We can fire up for those. So those are certain things which we have now started working on and would love to connect with you to actually figure out if there could be some synergies over there. Second part is basically on. Sorry, I
The
missed the
noise,
second part because I was so
noise.
excited about the first part.
She was talking about noise reduction. How do
Noise
you?
reduction is basically what we are doing in terms of noise reduction is first thing when you come on our device, we do a voice fingerprinting and hence it will always recognize your voice. And in terms of noise reduction, what it does is every that processing is taking place on the device itself. So now if I'm speaking with GD in a cafe versus if I'm speaking with her in a meeting room it will always understand that who I am speaking to, and what is basically their basically in terms of AI, right? It will understand my voice fingerprinting. It will also understand who I am speaking to in terms of, and this all we have built internally. And this took us some time that, but in terms of our speaker voice fingerprinting, we have actually achieved around 95% in terms of our own voice diarization.
No, but her questions
Okay.
was good, right? From a noise
Yeah.
reduction point of view.
Hmm.
Uh,
Yeah, like
of-
my question is more specific in terms of to mature the accuracy of your voice capturing in
Hmm.
public scenarios as well as in private scenarios where there are a lot of noises around.
Hmm.
TV chal raha hai, for example, right? Music is on, more people are talking, and you still want to talk to your device, right? In that scenario, are you partnering with, let's say, a noise optimization engine, or are you using any noise reduction uh, hardware in your device itself to achieve that?
Yeah, so basically we are using a very specific, there are basically two specific tech layers of it. So when the noise comes, there is always noise reduction through this platform, right? Which I can share actually I can share right now publicly, but whenever we get noise, there is first noise reduction, and then it goes into understanding your transcripts. So this is something when we initially launched, we realized that it was hallucinating because accuracy wasn't there, right? To increase the accuracy, we need to actually make sure that there is noise reduction. And that's where we actually, luckily enough, we had Samir Mehta investing on us, right? So we understood how bot actually does voice reduction. And that helped us a lot in getting that knowledge transfer to help us build our hardware as well.
Got it. Yeah. Thank you.
yeah, I think Suparna, you had a question. You still want to ask that?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yes, I want to ask.
yeah, go
So,
ahead.
my first question was to Dhananjay that will you be able to, with the hardware which you have, will you be able to do something like a USB which can work on an SLM, which can be like we downloaded on a PC, so you don't need a network for that. And anyway, you don't need any of your encryption in that too. Will that be possible? I mean, will it be possible?
So we have been speaking with Apple, we have been closely collaborating with Google. We tested out Apple's foundational models, right? SLMs are not by foundational model, I mean if it can locally process on your cell phone, right? And that's where we realize that currently intelligence is not there, but at the end of the day, vision is to make it a standalone device, right? So I believe that within 18 months, you will see within the cell phone all the processing taking place. So basically, it doesn't go to LLM itself. Basically, it doesn't go to cloud itself. The processing will take place on your cell phone. And within 3 years' time, we believe everything would take place in Neo itself.
Okay, but that will increase the price also because you have to have more memory, and so that will increase the price of your device, right?
Correct.
Yeah, we'll see to that. Okay, so my next question, we'll see when that happens. My
Hmm.
next question is when you do voice fingerprinting, right? That's what you're doing.
Hmm.
So when you do voice fingerprinting and two people are talking,
Hmm.
very nearby, right? It happens in household. Just in addition to Neha's thing, I am talking and my son is also talking on phone somewhere. Then how will your LLM? What is the tech stack which will basically differentiate between the voice fingerprint of me and the other person who is also speaking in a close proximity?
So first thing is when you, Suparna, when you buy our wearable, we actually advise if it actually tells you to voice fingerprint in our basically in our silent environment, right? So it understands your voice. That's how we do
Okay.
voice fingerprinting. So now it completely knows your voice. It's like fingerprinting, right? Apple asks you to do 3, 4 times. We ask you to do it for 30 seconds, right? And
Okay.
now any environment you go, right? You would be amazed that it works very, very seamlessly because it always detects your voice.
Okay. So it's
And
almost like a voice biometric.
Correct.
Yeah, it is.
It
It
is
is.
actually voice biometric.
It is a
It is.
voice biometric. Okay,
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
okay. Yeah, I mean, and how many languages do you support currently?
30.
30 Indian languages.
Yeah, we recently launched. Basically, we
So,
are going to do a big PR around it also, but 30
Dhananjay,
Indian languages we launched last week.
Dhananjay, is it 30 or 13?
It's 30.
Oh,
Superna,
great.
it's 30.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. So you'll be able to pick up things like matcha and then a
Yeah.
lot of stuff. Because the other day I was listening to another thing, and they say somebody picked up the phone. It was about a voice bot,
Mm,
and he picked up the phone, and instead of telling hello, said Conway.
mm,
I don't know whether you understand that part,
yeah.
but so and the bot went into completely a different and didn't understand, so it completely spiraled out of thing.
No, but I think the number of languages India has, if one has to build for all of that, it's going to take time. But at least all the officially recognized, I think there are 22 of them, if I remember. That was the last number.
Yeah,
If we are
it's
able to,
actually nearing 40 now,
No,
but yeah.
yes,
what I'm trying to say, GD, is that I can say con hai, or if I'm trying to be really local or trying to be little crass, I say con bay. That's a
right.
very, so
Yeah,
that's
that's
what
a
I'm
very
trying to
colloquial
say.
way of saying things.
Very
But
colloquial way of saying.
yeah, all that
But
I'm
maybe
saying
in
is
your
that,
case, it will not happen. In your case, that maybe will not happen.
but
Yeah, go ahead,
Suparna,
GD. Sorry.
I'm trying to tell you that not just you, in general, the approach is humans have taken so many years to come to this level of understanding slangs, and still there are people who are unable to follow. And this is just technology coming up. So I think give it some time and then it will follow all
One and a
kinds of
half
slangs.
years, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So,
So
So,
I think we are
yeah.
almost at the end of the show. Is there any other question? Because I have to share something with all of you that we have started doing from this event onwards. I was waiting for Dhananjay to finish. If there are more questions to him, by any chance, any of the men in the room want to ask any questions?
I also wanted to share one small incident with Suparna since she is asking about languages, right? So one of our tech guys is from Bora community, right? We asked him that unless and until it understands his language, which is Lisan Ud Dawa, okay, which is a mixture of Gujarati and Parsi. Till that point of time, we have not achieved that level, right? And when it started achieving that level, that is the time when we realized that if it can understand Gujarati and Parsi at the
Then
highest
it,
accuracy level.
you are there almost. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks for that.
Yeah. Dhananjay, any other closing remarks from your end? I think this has been one of the best sessions in terms of interactions. And from the previous time I heard you to now, I think your product has also matured in the past 3 months. So it's good to see how you're evolving. You want to say something
No,
as your closing remarks?
I think it was a great conversation. I think people joining over here, people like you who support us, basically give us that motivation to keep on working, outworking everyone, right? And thanks a lot for asking those questions. These are very interesting, and thanks a lot for joining.
Yeah, thank you, Dhananjay. One of the main, objectives of applied AI that we've taken is also to connect people, right? Through our startup showcase series, we have had people, the startup folks getting more opportunities in larger companies because some of the CIOs were part of this and they were able to pull them up. I think we need to lift each other up because India is in that tipping point, that moment where there's so much happening and we just need to be there for each other and make this whole thing go well. While we do all of that, I just want to share one single slider. I want all of you to just stay with me for the next 1 minute and just focus. Nothing great that you have not seen that I'm going to talk about, but this is important that in every other session, we talk about the ethics and the responsibility part of AI. Just give me a minute. I'm just going to share that screen with you all and talk about it. Tell me when you can see my screen. Yeah.
Yeah.
See, this is something that most often we forget because we are very so much engrossed into all the innovations that we are doing. So, all ears for the next 1 minute. Before I go ahead with this, I should thank AK Mailsami and Associate Subhadra, who is a leading advocate there. She's the owner of the firm. She has helped me put this together and want to acknowledge her efforts and her team's efforts on this one. This is something that at Applied AI India chapter, we want to be prophesizing and following to the T. We have a lot of risks coming with new technologies such as artificial intelligence. To start with, we all talk about bias, discrimination, wrong information, hallucination, privacy violations, security threats, over-reliance on technology without understanding the nuances, legal and ethical liability. Just to name a few risks here. And how do we overcome these risks? What are the mitigations? We usually want to be putting our guardrails in place, the policies, governance, effectiveness of these governance, and the technical controls. You have human in the loop. You get people to look at what you're doing before you really take it to the larger masses. And we train people, we do audits, we do assessments. But the only request is let's make sure that the next generations to come are not impacted by the innovations we are doing today. We all have to take that responsibility, and we at Applied AI are very serious about this. Now, why guardrails are crucial? This is like asking why should the train run on the tracks? We all know what happens when it goes off track. We don't want our communities and societies to go off track, and hence to build trustworthy and responsible AI, we need to have these guardrails. We need to make sure we do have the like we have moral policing and the social policing, we need to have AI policing. Each of us will play this role depending on where we are, and let's all take that commitment together to make sure that our communities and our societies never go off rail. On that note, thank you all so much for joining us today. I think this is one of the best. I'll just stop sharing for a moment. Yeah, thank you all for joining us. One of the best sessions, Dhananjay. There is more to come from you, Neosapien. I like the term Neosapien. We are Neosapiens, all of us. And I want to make sure that we all stay true to our commitments and our values and ethics. Thank you all so much. Until next month again with another startup. See you all. Have a nice evening.
Thank you.
Thank
you.
you. Bye-bye.